Eleanor from The Crafty Home, and today I am going to do a book review. I feel like I've been lax in these, so I'm like, right now I'm filming a whole bunch of them. So you may be tired of book reviews soon, I don't know, but I do have people that ask me, like Michelle, who does not have a channel, but she subscribes to me. Hey. She actually asked for a review for this book specifically, so here goes nothing. I'm going to review Eleanor and Park by Rowell. I know a lot of people have already read this, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm going to review it anyway. So, Eleanor and Park is set in the 80s. What time in the 80s? It tells you at the beginning. 1986. So, now that I think, okay, anyway. 1986. I was 6 years old during that time, but a lot of the 80s references I still got. This book is smack full of them because it's the 80s. So yeah, they'd be there. This book story follows, it's written from a dual perspective from Eleanor and then from Park, and so it kind of flips back and forth, but I never like got tired and wanted it to switch again, if that makes sense. Sometimes when they're dual perspective, you are like, come on, switch to the other person. It's not like that at all, because it's mostly like when they're together, kind of switching perspectives for the most part, so it's really quite good. Eleanor is a teen who has just moved back in with her parents, who her stepdad had basically kicked her out. He is, I don't think this is spoilery, he is a drunk and abusive and a horrible person. Eleanor has red curly hair, hence the picture, and is overweight, although the way it's described in the book, I don't think she was somebody who was hugely overweight. You know how it is in high school. You can just be slightly overweight and labeled as fat and everything. And that's kind of her life. She's kind of outcast. She gets on the bus and, you know, there's nowhere to sit because nobody wants to sit with the new girl who's somewhat larger and dresses funny. And Park is the only one who is finally kind enough to move over and let her sit by him, although he doesn't talk to her or anything for a long time. Park is a high school boy, obviously. He is half Korean. He has a fairly good family life. I would say really quite typical middle, why can't I think of the word? Middle income, middle class life. He has one brother, whereas Eleanor has 4 other siblings, 5 of them all together. You know, Park has his own room, all of that. He kind of, like, he wears black all the time, so somewhat gothy would have been considered for that time, but reads comic books and is somebody who is mostly liked, but isn't super popular, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's kind of a little bit of a description. So as time goes on, they sit by each other, they don't talk to each other at all. Then she starts reading the comics over his shoulder on the ride to school. I can put this book down. And then he starts slowing down for her. And so it's just basically like the story of them going from not talking at all to eventually falling in love. And it's so sweet. It's not fast love at all. Insta love, no. And it's so sweet. Like the descriptions of the first time they held hands, oh, it was so good. Like it totally took you back to that time when you first held hands with a boy, you know, or with somebody you really liked. It's just so sweet. Oh, I think that was my favorite part of this book, was how super sweet it was to remember that first love and those feelings, warm fuzzy feelings you get when everything's new and exciting. This book also made me think quite a bit. Eleanor comes from a home that is horrible. She lives with a stepdad who hates her. She had to move out for a whole entire year. He is abusive to his wife. He is a drunk. He does drugs. But the mom, of course, is too beat down to care or want to leave. and there are 5 of them all together, 4 from her previously, and then 1 with the guy together, the stepdad. They all have to sleep in the same room. Eleanor has her own bed up on top, but the rest on the bunk beds, but the rest all sleep below. They have no personal space whatsoever, nowhere to put her own things, which is especially hard when you're a high school girl. She has like one little box that she can kind of put her stuff in. Her clothes are so beat up and raggy that, this is kind of spoilery, but not really, that she has to pin things all over her clothes to cover the myriad of holes in her jeans, you know, which Park thought was just her crazy sense of style, and I don't know that he ever knew that it was because she had holes in her clothes. And just the way she would act and how secluded she was all because of the horrible lifestyle she had to live. I mean, their bathroom didn't even have a door, and she would have to try to hurry to be able to take a shower before her stepdad came home so that he wouldn't literally walk in the back door and see her in the bathtub. I mean, just, I can't even imagine. So yeah, she's just not treated well at all. It really made me think about, like, I wonder how many people in high school or just in life in general that, especially in high school years though, that act weird and dress a certain way that you think is really odd, and like I wonder how much of that comes from their upbringing and from things they're trying to keep a secret, just to survive. And it just was sad, and it really made me think about that. But thankfully she had the bright spot of Park. Like there's a scene at the beginning where she has all these songs she wants to hear, and she writes like their titles on her book covers, and he finds out that that's what they are. Sorry. And he makes a mixed tape for her, but she's like, I don't have anything to listen to it on. She does have a Walkman, but she doesn't have batteries, and she has no way to get anything for herself. And so she keeps saying, man, I didn't want to waste the batteries, you know, or whatever. And he's like, no, go ahead. So he soon realizes that that's the problem. And so she just takes the batteries out of the Walkman, because she's like, I don't need the Walkman, I just need the batteries. And she doesn't tell him that though. She just takes them, and he's like, okay, that's weird. And then he goes home and like steals the batteries out of like everything in the house, even his brother's toys, and ends up asking his grandma for his birthday just to get him batteries so he can share them with her. It's like, that's so sweet. So yeah, the book is super duper sweet, and yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 stars because there is a lot of cussing, and I didn't feel that it was all needed. I understand like the stepdad, you know, possibly cussing a lot and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel it was all needed. That's just me though. Felix apparently wants to be in this video. So that is kind of how I feel. I don't think I really have anything spoilery to add. I mean, I've maybe told you a couple things that could be considered spoilery, maybe a little. The ending, I will not tell you. You have to read it for that. But I now know why a lot of people say, you know, some people say that they ended up together, and some people say they didn't. And yeah, now I know why. I've always kind of thought, well, how could that be? I mean, I'm kind of bummed the way it ends, but it's also kind of fun because you get to just kind of fill in your own ending, and you'll see when you read the book why that is. So yeah, I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. I do recommend it, and until next time, I'll chat with y'all later.